Hi, and thanks for stopping by. My name is Beth, and today we are going to be learning how to pipe frosting onto cupcakes. We are going to be going through techniques on how to fill the bag, how to hold the bag, and how to not spill frosting out of the bag. So stick around, and we're going to get right to it. First, you want to go ahead and grab your piping bag, your piping tip, and a pair of scissors. We want to cut a hole in the bag so we can put the piping tip inside the bag and not let the frosting spill that way. The bag goes about halfway up from the tip. Grab your scissors and just cut off a little bit, about that much, and put the tip inside the bag. And see how far down it goes. If you see here, we've cut it and the bag is still covering part of the tip that we want to use. So we need to cut that hole a little larger. Take the tip out just a little bit and we're gonna cut that one more time. Just a little more. See if that works. There we go. As long as the bag is not touching the part of the tip that is going to be squeezing the frosting out, we're good. Now we can go ahead and fill the bag. Good job. You're doing great. Our next step is going to be filling our bag with our frosting. So what we first want to do is cuff the piping bag so we don't get frosting on the very edge of the bag. Start cuffing it just like you would a bag of potato chips or jeans or a shirt. You want to cuff it over and hold the bag like an ice cream cone, just like this, and cuff the bag over your hand. That way, any frosting that you put inside the ice cream cone right here is not going to get at the very edge of your bag. Good. This is where you would fill the piping bag with your frosting to frost the cupcakes. Normally we just do that with one color, but today we are going to be doing a technique using 3 different colors, and it's going to make a fun little swirl effect on the cupcake. What I like to do is I like to grab a cup and put my piping bag in the cup. That way I can use both hands. So you can either do the one-handed technique or use both hands. I prefer to use both hands here. Go ahead and grab your first color. This is our nice purple we have here. And you want to grab just a little bit of this frosting and start putting it on the edge of the bag right here. We have this purple frosting on this edge, and we'll grab the second color here, which is pink. And you just want to rotate the bag and start putting the pink down. Don't worry too much about getting it down close to the tip because we're going to be squeezing the icing down anyway, so don't worry about that. You want to get your pink here. Good. And then we'll do the next color, which is white. And put that down here. And then just keep going. Just keep adding the frosting to that area, making sure it's kind of going vertical rather than having just one big glob at the top there. So put the glob and you can kind of guide it down a little bit. Great, and then just keep going. Now that we have all of the frosting to the brim of the cup here, we are going to remove the bag from the cup and holding the bag on both sides with one forceful motion, we are going to do one big shake. You see how there's space right here? We want all the frosting to come down to the tip. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, that was beautiful. Good job. Now we have more room to put more frosting in our bag. So at this point, I would just say to use your hand cone holding technique right here. And just put the rest of the frosting on, making sure to keep that cuff so we can close the bag later and you won't get frosting all over the place. Great. So our bag is pretty full with frosting. So we want to do that shake one more time. That gets most of the frosting away from the very top of the bag. And what I like to do is I like to grab the top of the bag right here and using my other hand, just squish down the frosting as much as possible. And then grab it like this at the very top and gather the end of the bag. Just twist it a little bit and hold it like that. Now this is the proper way to hold your bag. You want to hold it in between your thumb and your index finger like this. What we're going to do is we're going to tie the end of this bag to help us not let go of it. Grab this tie that you should have in your baking box if you did get a baking box. If not, they have these at cake supply stores. Or you could just use a rubber band, whatever suits your fancy. Put it around the bag. And this little anchor right here, that's going to anchor the end of your tie. Put it over the anchor and let it go, and that holds your bag for you. Ta-da! Now that we have our frosting in our bag, we are going to learn how to hold the bag and how to squeeze the frosting out of the bag properly. So, like I showed you previously, we want to hold our bag like this in between our thumb and our index finger. Go ahead and just pinch it just like that, and you want to give it a little twist. We give it a twist to help us gather the extra bag that doesn't have frosting in it. Once we have most of our frosting gone, we're just going to continue to turn it to keep the pressure tight on the frosting. Does that make sense? Now that you have the proper hand hold, we are going to put our other hand on the edge of the bag right here, and that's going to give us more security, a little more precision, but we don't want to squeeze from this hand. We want to squeeze from the top right here. If we squeeze from this hand, the frosting is just going to come outside of the bag, and we don't want that. We want to squeeze from this side, and just make sure that you're always paying attention to the end of the bag. Sometimes if you're not paying attention, frosting might start slipping out and then you have to redo it and it's kind of a pain. So let's just not go there. Let's not go there. Let's just pay attention to what we're doing. Another thing you might want to consider is which hand is your dominant hand. My right hand is my dominant hand. So that is the hand that you place at the very top of your bag like this. So if you're left-handed, it's going to look like this. Or if you're in a mirror, it's going to look like this. So whatever your dominant hand is, you're going to hold that at the top right here. And then place your non-dominant hand here. This is where you would normally pipe your frosting onto your cupcakes. But since this is the first time we're doing this, we're going to practice on wax paper. Then you'll get the hang of it and you'll be able to pipe your frosting on your actual cupcakes. That will ensure that you don't mess up your cupcakes because they're very precious. This wax paper here, I've traced circles on it, as you can see, and those are going to be our cupcakes. Now, the first thing you want to do when you pipe is you want to hold the bag straight up and down. You don't want to hold the piping bag sideways because your frosting is not going to come out the way you want it to. So you want to hold it straight up and down. Hold the bag with your non-dominant hand just to secure the bag. The first thing we're going to learn how to do is how to squeeze the frosting out of the bag and release, because that's the most important thing you need to know. You need to be comfortable with squeezing the frosting and then releasing at the right time. What we're going to do right here on the side is we're just going to squeeze. And when you're done, you're just going to let go and then pull up. It's squeeze, release, and then pull up. You don't want to pull the piping bag up before you release the frosting, because then you're just going to get a trail of frosting all over the place and it's not going to look good. Now that we have a better feel for how to release the piping bag, let's go ahead and start piping in a circle. What you want to do is keep the bag straight up and down and start at one edge of the circle and keep squeezing very lightly until you get back to that point of the circle. Once you get to that point of the circle, you're just going to continue in another circle until you get to the center. And when you're at the center, release and pull up. And that's your cupcake frosting. Go ahead and start at the edge of your circle and start squeezing and follow the circle until you reach that same point. Then gradually keep doing circles until you reach the middle. Release and pull up. And there you have it, your beautiful cupcake. There's different ways to pipe on a cupcake. This is a very standard way, but if you've ever seen a rose frosting pattern, that is very similar to this way of piping. You're just going to start in the middle and work your way out. And when you get to the outside, you gradually release. So I'll show you that one again. You want to start in the middle and keep piping in a circle until you reach the outside and gradually release. We have a lot less frosting in this bag. Like we said earlier, we're just gonna keep twisting until the pressure is tight, and that will ensure that your frosting is a-okay. Let's go back to the original piping style. We're gonna start on the edge and go until you reach it and keep going in the middle and release and pull up. Good job. Keep the pressure tight on here. And we're going to do one final one to end our piping practice, and then you can bring this technique to your actual cupcakes. Let's try the rose style one last time. So we're going to start in the middle and go to the edge and gradually release. All right, there you have it. Those are all of your cupcakes. Aren't they so beautiful? Go ahead and frost those cupcakes, whether they are your unicorn cupcakes or just everyday kind of cupcakes. You have the tools, you have the knowledge, and you have the power in the palm of your hand. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time with another tutorial on how to bake from my kitchen to yours. Happy baking! Adios! Hasta la pasta!